Hi again and welcome back to the AIIDE tournament. We have got another game of the most beautiful game in the world. That doesn't make sense. It's called Brood War, StarCraft Brood War, released in 1989 and be made available for AI competitions and AI development by Adam Heinerman, and AIIDE is one of the three big tournaments. CIG is the other one, and the Student StarCraft AI tournament is the third, which will be held in the Christmas holiday, really. And this is one of the games. These are two AIs playing a beautiful game of StarCraft Brood War. We have got Purplewave, which we saw lose a nail-biting game earlier versus Cherry Pie. Very tense. Fought tooth and nail, but succumbed in the end to the Zerglings. And its enemy this time is Ironbot by AIIDE'17, Purplewave of course by Dan Gant. And I will speed up the initial stage of the game once more, because as you can see there is just harvesting going on and some basic buildings being built. And oh, we've got a scouting worker doing stuff, but right now nothing much is happening, and both players are just going to set up shop, build a couple of units and protect their own base for the time being. Oh dear. Two fighting units moving out, trying to contain the enemy, while Iron is going for its hallmark factory, going to be some kind of vulture play, and these two Dragoons are going to attack the enemy. And more Dragoons are coming, so again we see aggressive play by Purplewave. And Purplewave is also going to kill some workers. That is not as dramatic as it seems, because this tank has got a better range than these Dragoons. And you can see here the symbol means siege mode, which will allow this tank to park right here. It will transform into a artillery piece and blast these goons from the sky or from the ramp. And although Terran is losing a little bit, Protoss also is investing very heavily in this push. Oh, and the tank now has found a position to attack without actually making use of its... Oh, there it goes. Boom! That's a lot of damage done, and these Dragoons don't want to have any part of that. Another tank pops out, and with two tanks the Terran base again is quite safe. And you can see Terran built another command center, so as soon as it's got these tanks it will claim this position here, mine from here, and has two bases mining, while Protoss hasn't started construction of its natural. And Protoss has built a citadel of a dune. And for those of you unfamiliar with the game, you start out with basic buildings and then you've got to build technology which will enable you to build more advanced buildings. This, as you can see, is a Templar Archives, which will mean either High Templars, which can use a powerful spell causing area damage called Psionic Storm, or can use Dark Templars, which are invisible and will need some additional technology to make them visible again. Now, Terran is stuck in the base for some reason. Can't really move out, it'd like to, and the fortunate thing is that this barracks is going to build to burn down, and Protoss is coming in with another attack with about 9 Dragoons, but there are tanks on the high ground with the siege mode upgrade, and they're going to do masses of damage. Look, let's focus on the hit points, and these Dragoons, all the shields have been lost, and with a couple of more well-placed shots they're going to be sent on a fishing trip in the Eternal Hunting Grounds. And this building will finally burn down, enabling all the other units to move out. Protoss moving back to base, having finished the Templar Archives, and the question now is, will it build Dark Templars, which cannot be spotted unless you've got some kind of invisible realm detection, or is it going to be High Templars with a very powerful... Ooh, yes, it is. And you can see it's not really all that visible. It's got a cape and a little head and some feet and a long sword, so it can do lots and lots of damage. It's not as strong. It hasn't got many hit points, but it's very devious. And Protoss at this moment hasn't got detection really. It's got this engineering bay, which means you can build buildings which can detect, but at the moment it cannot detect yet. And the tanks are going to do their damage thing, and if you see this unit being damaged, it is because the other units can be targeted, and it takes splash damage, which is area damage from these tanks, And now the units are loose in the base, and it will be about getting some kind of detection up for Terran. Otherwise it's going to suffer horribly, and Protoss take another base. And where is the detection coming from for Terran? Terran hasn't got anything, and that's going to be a major problem, because although there are only 2 of these units, they can do a lot of damage. You can see with 2 hits they take down a vulture, and with about 4 hits they take down a tank, and that's just a lot of money lost for Terran. And Terran really... Oh, here we go. That's going to be a turret, a missile turret, which has a scouting range of about this size, and that means that you can't really park cloaked units in that range. But the Protoss is coming back in again and going to kill, and now Terran has sort of made this area safe, but the natural isn't. And this turret is not going to be finished, and there are so many Dark Templars. Ooh, and these spider mines, of course, they can also spot cloaked units, so if these Dark Templars are going to make their way across up to the ramp, they are going to be blasted by these spider mines, and perhaps by the tanks. And the natural command center for Terran dies. That's very costly. It should have been lifted. Most Terran buildings can float like this one. Ooh, and that was, very unlucky. Another turret being built for Terran, but immediately it will be targeted by these Dark Templar, and these Dark Templar are really running away with the game. Protoss taking another base, taking a 3rd base, meanwhile building masses of... Ooh, that's a nice run by, but there is just too many, there are too many workers. Protoss has got more production coming up. And now, now there are 2 turrets, there is 1 tank, a couple of vultures, and these, these SCVs, these workers are repairing that tank, so this will be a very, very, very close hold by Terran. Only this area is now protected by these 2 turrets, and this Dark Templar is just staying right out of range of these turrets, just to be safe. The main problem for Terran is that Protoss will be... there are some vultures out there killing a lot of workers. That's very well done. But Protoss will momentarily secure the natural base and then have a large economical advantage. And Terran really can't get out. There is no more detection aside from these 2 buildings. And that's going to be a major problem. This Dark Templar is doing so much damage. And Terran can only hope that this Dark Templar will move into range of these turrets, and then the tank can't shoot it, or that it will connect with a spider mine, which will be laid by these vultures. And this flying unit, yeah, what can it do? It's very weak. Oh dear, Terran in a lot of trouble. And this vulture is really keeping Terran in the game, doing a lot of damage to workers. The vulture here has been killed, but its friend is coming to help. But this Dragoon can take care of the threat, and now the natural is up, so it's 2 mining bases versus 1, which is very unfair, come to think of it. And Terran still being contained by 1 Dark Templar, and how hard is it for an AI to actually figure out what's going on and where you need some kind of detection. And that... and the Dark Templar dies, so now Terran has got control of its own base. Let's take stock. It's got about half the supply of the Protoss. Protoss has got 3 bases mining. That's going to be a huge problem. Terran immediately taking another base. That's very well executed, and going to take the low ground, and has got the mobility with these 2 flying units. But Protoss has got a huge army. It's got double the army supply, and what's worse, it's got more than double the worker supply. So in the long run, it's got a major advantage over Terran. And Terran has only got 2 lightly armored flying units, almost no tanks, no supporting units, and this base on the low ground is very, very vulnerable. The tank should be very careful, because if the tank dies, it's curtains for Terran. Now it's in siege mode, so it can project damage up to here. Another tank is coming. That's some more technology, but Terran really is praying now that the Protoss will not commit to any kind of attack, because it would be so vulnerable. That's good. That's a long shot. Ooh, and another Dark Templar. Oh god! There is another Dark Templar in the base, and although 2 Terran units die, I think that was worth it, because Terran really needs that detection up now. It is so very vulnerable to cloaked units, and will we have more of these cloaked units? They are such a pest. That's absolutely gobsmacking. This vulture doing damage to the workers, that's very well done. More production is being added to the Protoss arsenal, and that is going to be the nail in the coffin for Terran. Because Terran, although, oh, another mine, that's good. It's got a lot of tanks. The third base, though, is very exposed, and Terran can only pray that it's not being found. The main base is getting low, and although there are a lot of tanks, and Terran just needs, Iron's got to move out, got to make something happen. Protoss is in a glorious position, having 3 bases versus the only one of Protoss, or 1.5. This one's so very exposed, it's very, very vulnerable. Terran now slowly making its way down the ramp, but this tank blocking the descent of the other tanks, and although there are tanks up on the high ground, oh, that's very well done. The cloaked scouting units for Protoss are moving into range of the turret, and this base still hasn't been found. Terran is so very, very, very lucky in that. And now this tank should be mobile again, move out, and let the other tanks move up to here. Oh, no, there's still no detection, but the tank blocking the ramp is going to be killed. And oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, and everything blows up, but the ramp is clear, allowing the tanks to move down the ramp, but there is such a large Protoss army coming up. It's really going to be unfair, even with this tank on the high ground and these other tanks on the high ground. Oh, these Protoss units are really up for a beating, and you can see how powerful the Terran is with these superior, long-range, hard-hitting, area damage dealing units on the high ground. It's an impregnable position, and this base is sort of operational. That's very well done by Terran. Terran really needs to move out and get some kind of detection mobile. Ah, yeah, there we go. This is a ComSat station. It is a technology, a special forces unit with energy here indicated in the purple, which can project a scan illuminating the hidden realms in a certain portion of the map for about 10 seconds. 4th base being taken by Protoss, though. More production capacity being added, more technology being added. This is going to be a showdown, because Terran momentarily will move out of the map. Yep, there we go. Finally the units can make their way to the low ground, and with the scouting from this SCV core, this Wraith core, this flying unit core, Terran will need to get... Oh, this siege tank is very exposed. The tanks need to be out there. There are only 4 or 5 tanks. That's not enough. But these Dragoons have such an unholy fear of these tanks, because they have such a lot of damage. Oh no, another one dies, and this base... Oh, it has been found. It has been found. That is bad news for Terran, because Terran has only got a puny army and can't really project forces enough, not far enough onto the map, to protect this base, and this scanning department is going to be, oh, out of commission. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And Terran will have, with the few tanks it's got, make something work to save that base, and it's very lucky that these Dragoons don't realize the importance of this base for Terran. The Dragoons are coming into the natural again of Terran, and Terran is keeping its distance, but it's very wisely doing so, because its army is so small. Protoss, this base is mined out, 1, 2, 3 bases, and has got masses of production buildings all across the map, and now engaging the natural base of Terran. Terran really struggling for dominance. The tanks are too far in the rear. These lightly armored units are not making a dent in the Protoss army, and as long as these tanks keep sitting back, it's going to be a major error. It's going to be a hell of a mess for Terran. And although these vultures can run down individual Dragoons, this is the main problem. And that is the main problem too, because the main base is out for Terran, and this base needs to be protected at all costs. It isn't. And oh dear, an airdrop into the main base of Protoss immediately. The scanning turrets are being demolished, and the ComSat, this scanning thing, is being demolished as well. Protoss with a devastating play bringing the fight to the Protoss. That's very well done. I've never seen that before. Oh, and the heavy deck cavalry is here. This unit can do so much damage, but there is still work to be done for Protoss because this base is still standing, but the main base is overrun. There is hardly any Terran army left, and the army that is there is mulling about. It's very inefficient. It isn't even in siege mode where these tanks can deliver the hard. Yeah, only now, but the entire Protoss army is in the main already. You are too late. Oh, boys, what are you doing? The main base is overrun. The third base is overrun. Protoss is running away with this game. And oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, there is even a shuttle with a very hard-hitting unit. And the Air Force is here with these carriers, which are capital ships which do not attack by themselves, but have up to 8 of these small interceptors and can do together a lot of damage. So Iron is really struggling at this point, and although this is a nice bit of harassment going down by Terran, in the long run you can see it's an army supply of about 90 versus 20, and the Terran army is on the run. The main base is overrun, there is no more income whatever, and this base is going to fall as well. Protoss has got this game well under control, and even if there are workers being lost in the main, even if there are units being lost to these mines here on the low ground, and these units refuse to get in the way of this mine. But the Air Force deals with it quite comprehensively. And the Terran Air Force consists of only 1 unit and is now going to die. So the Terran army is about 4 in supply, Protoss over 100. Protoss has nearly 200 supply, and that is the game. Brilliant play for Purplewave. Iron couldn't get its detection going, and the tanks were a little bit naughty and silly in the late game, but there you go. This is one of the most beautiful games of Brood War AI I have seen in recent times, so if you are watching this from a unsuspecting spectator's point of view, you have been shown something beautiful, so just you know. This was a set of replays for the AIIDE'17 convention. Of course, it's the Artificial Intelligence Interactive Digital Entertainment Fair, and this tournament was graciously hosted by Dave Churchill. So Dave, thank you very much for allowing me to cast these games. If you want to see more, read up on all the notes you're going to be showered with, or just follow the link here at the bottom right, which is occasionally, it's always showing these beautiful bots in a deadly struggle to be the best. And that is the game. Another base for Protoss being taken. Protoss has run away with this. So yeah, that's the game, and I say GG. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you again some other time. Goodbye.